Hey, everybody. Welcome to Game Mess Mornings with me, Jeff Grubb, your host from giantbomb.com. Thank you for tuning in. In this episode, we're going to be talking about what happened at that Nintendo Direct. It's going to be a good one because we have Lex Saluddy on the show. Lexi, how are you doing?
You know, Grubb, I think that your coworkers have left you high and dry this week. It's really unfair. And did you see those fucking jokers over on Kinda Funny yesterday? Did you see those marks? Those absolute marks wearing their own merchandise.
It's embarrassing.
Together.
It's
Greg
embarrassing.
Miller and Mike Minardi, they go to the concert wearing the band shirt. It's like,
and they're the band.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
They could at least done a shirt exchange, right? You wear my shirt, I wear your shirt. But no, they're marks.
It would be like a sports game, you know, at the end they're like, oh, good game, and they trade shirts, but no. It was my birthday yesterday.
Happy birthday!
Nintendo decided to celebrate by giving me a Direct with just things that only I'm interested in and no one else.
The Lex Slutty Direct, there was quite a few things in there for you. I enjoyed the Direct overall as well. My expectation, Lexi, is that overall the reception on that is going to be chilly, cool, maybe just lukewarm even. But hey, I liked a lot of those games in there, and I'm still playing Donkey Kong, so I'm still very happy with my Switch too. This is how it goes sometimes. Sometimes you get Directs that don't have a lot of stuff in there for you, and I think the problem is the hype for this Direct, as usual, got pretty out of hand, and then when it was announced to be a partner Direct, that was the first little bit of, oh no, this is not going to have the stuff I need. I've definitely been out there being like, I want the Metroid Prime 4 release date. But as soon as it was a partner Direct, knew that wasn't going to happen. And now it's like, okay, if they don't have that until a September Direct, which in all honesty, it doesn't necessarily have to be super far away, right? We're talking 5 to 8 weeks for something like that, right? Is that correct on time? September's after August. That's still how it goes. So that doesn't seem too out of the realm of possibility. And then there's always the Nintendo Today app, but we'll talk about all that. What'd you do for your birthday? I'm sure you're like, look, you're one of the youngest, hippest people I know. So I'm sure you were partying, mingling with supermodels and drug dealers. So what'd you end up doing?
I mainly stayed at home and just played Tears of the Kingdom all day, which was pretty good because I'm finally beating that game.
That's not true. You also did some art, right? Didn't you do some artwork?
Oh yeah, I played Mario Paint. I'm turning into. I've spent too much time around fucking millennials, and it's rubbing off on me in a real bad way. You. To the point that I'm like, Mario Paint, this is pretty good. I'm celebrating on Saturday. Rewinder, the website that I run, we're doing a live stream on Saturday at 5 p.m. BST, 9 a.m. PST, which is Rewinder presents Super Mario Party Jamboree Nintendo Switch 2 Edition plus Jamboree TV. And also Lexi Party starring Lex, Scott, and Henry, Patreon subathon.
Fun times. Everyone, I don't know why we're on YouTube this time. I made it live, and I did switch it from it was on unlisted to public, but it's public now, so I don't know why it's not popping up. Not much I could do about that. And everyone who can help me, fucking not here. They're not doing their job.
Yep.
So what am I supposed to do? I'm looking at this. It should be working. There's 7 people watching. How are those 7 people watching? How were they able to get in there? I think probably from the playlist or something. I don't know. I've done what I can. Usually this fixes it, but not today. That's just a good time. Lexi, I think what we should do is probably just get on with the show so I can stop thinking about all the ways that I am failing this website and failing my fellow gamers.
The good news is, Grubb, once you're done here, it's not like you have any more shows or podcasts today. So
it's a long day. It's a long day, everybody, but let's settle in. Let's make it happen. All right, let's explain ourselves. We're Giant Bomb. We make a lot of fun stuff, and by we, I mean just me. And if you want to help me do that stuff, go to giantbomb.com/join. You can become a premium member there. Gets you bonuses, gets you ad-free shows, gets you some extra goodies. But really what it does is enable us to make cool stuff. If you like what we do, it's the best way to support us. It goes a really long way. You become a monthly member there, and it's going to ensure that we can do the cool stuff like what we did for Summer Game Fest and We're planning maybe something along the lines of things that we've done in the past, akin to like a bombathon, things along those lines. And we're looking forward to doing more and more of that. And we could do it because you all
Giant Bomb
support
European
us.
office. That would definitely.
That's
You told me it's any day now. Any day now, we're gonna open it.
Working on the permits right now.
Yeah.
We got to get all lined up over there with the EU. But we'll see what we can make happen. As far as this show goes, most weekdays, I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings or find the RSS feed on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase, July 31st, full recap. This comes from Go Nintendo. So this was a partner direct. We have a bunch of games in here from partners. There was nothing really first party. The one closest thing to first party was a Zelda game made by so is that Tecmo? It would be Koei Tecmo, yep. For their Muso game that they're making, the third one of those. But let's go through what was there. I still think it's worth recapping everything because a lot of these games are pretty interesting to me. That starts with Monster Hunter Stories 3, Twisted Reflection. Embark on a new adventure as a rider living in harmony with monsters. Blah, blah, blah. Game's coming in 2026 to Switch 2. Have you played any of the other Stories games before?
Only a little bit, but I had been looking at a bunch of Monster Hunter Stories 2 running on a Switch 2 because that was one of the games that saw the biggest improvement just from the sheer horsepower of the Switch, because that had run at a uncapped frame rate on Switch 1, and now it just runs at a locked 60 if you load it up there. So it looks really nice if you go play Monster Hunter Stories 2 on Switch 2 now, and I think it's on sale for like $20 at the moment. So
excellent. Yeah, I thought it looked really nice in this this direct, where it's like, oh yeah, that's a pretty looking game, and I didn't necessarily remember thinking that about Monster Hunter Stories before. I mean, it looked fine, but it definitely didn't stun me. I thought this was relatively stunning. Then we had Hyrule Warriors: Age of Imprisonment. This is going to be based on the timeline from, of Tears of the Kingdom, like Zelda getting sent into the past, hanging out with King Rauru, the goat, and his human-looking wife. People can do with that what they need to. They also teased Link in a way by showing that the robot, I guess this is a spoiler now at this point. Maybe a little bit of
here's how you know it's not a spoiler. I was looking up guides for stuff in Tears of the Kingdom, and I had this spoiled for me. So I'm like, okay, if it's in guides at this point, I think there is no law anymore.
Yeah,
you're free to.
It's right, exactly. Like, this is just kind of the thing that people talk about. It's a thing you get in that game, and it's going to be in this game, and Link might be piloting in it, I guess. I mean, this is the way they're going to get Link in here. I bet they're going to get Link in there as just straight up Link, because nothing matters in a Muso game. So they'll just do that as well, but this seems to be one of the workarounds up front, maybe to keep it canon a little bit. All right, let's see here. EA Sports Madden NFL 26. This is coming August 14th to Switch 2. I would pre-order the deluxe edition before August 7th, to get it 7 days early. Okay, so yeah, you can get it 7 days early on August 7th, so that's effectively the release date. Man, that's not that long from now. Madden is back on a Nintendo platform. There was never a Madden on Switch 1, I believe. Yeah, there wasn't. I think I would remember that. But they used to put Maddens out on a lot of Nintendo devices before that. Maybe not the Wii U so much, but 3DS got a Madden, or at least DS did. EA's not been super hot on Nintendo platforms for a minute. And then I think that seeing this was like, okay, this still feels like EA testing the waters. Does not feel like EA going whole hog quite yet. What do you think happens from here? Do you think this game is going to do well enough that EA will say to themselves, yeah, we're back in on Nintendo Switch 2?
It's interesting because you look at it now, and EA does actually have a pretty big presence on the Switch 2. Like, it has FIFA, it has Madden, and then it Takes Two and Apex Legends. Yes. 3 of those are very kind of low effort, or not low effort, but like low commitment ports because
Right.
they already were on Switch 1. Apex Legends was also on Switch 1. And then It Takes Two is probably one of the few games where they were like, well, this definitely couldn't run on a Switch 1, but it can run on a Switch 2. And they probably looked at the sales of It Takes Two on Switch 1 and were like, well, we gotta get this over there. So far they've all been very low risk Moneyball kind of ports. I'm curious to see if at any point they're like, we're gonna bring Mass Effect Legendary Collection over there. Cause like that would be a great place to have the
That'd
Mass
be
Effect
awesome.
Legendary Collection. But do they give a shit about that anymore? Is that enough of a moneymaker anymore? Because like you look at Hazelight and stuff, that's the only EA original going anymore. EA Originals is just Hazelight now.
It's just Joseph. It's a EA Joseph's.
Yeah, because they had stuff like Unravel and they had stuff like Lost in Random,
Yep.
and then that sequel to Lost in Random came out, and that was published by Thunderful.
Mm-hmm.
So clearly EA kind of lost its appetite for its indie publishing label and now just keeps it around exclusively for the Joseph Fares games that have kind of established themselves now as multi-million sellers. So yeah, it's a weird situation for them.
Yeah, who knows how they do the math over there, right? Like you talk about Mass Effect, the chat's pointing out, often on sale for $5 to $10 right now, but you put it on Switch, you can raise the price back up on Switch too, because if the people are going to buy it there, they must want it on that system, treat it like a new release, and you can do close to new release pricing, at least 30 to 40 bucks.
Those Star Wars KOTOR ports always sold really well on Switch. They were always like in and around the best sellers and going on sales and stuff. That weirdly enough, KOTOR 2 still not playable on Switch 2.
Yeah,
it's one of the games that is just like, nah, can't do it.
Yeah, and they said they would too, which was always a weird thing. In fact, I think they sold a bundle where it was eventually going to be released, and that was a odd thing. But for EA, before we move on, I think it's going to be tough because if they are waiting to see the results of some of these other releases, it's like, oh, let's see how Apex Legends does and make our decisions from there. I just don't know if Apex Legends is the Nintendo Switch 2 audience's bag. I think they might have just been like, we're already playing Fortnite and we're good with that. We don't need another one.
I remember there being news stories around the time of Apex's launch that it was like making surprising inroads in Japan.
Yeah.
But that seemed to have fallen off quite drastically. So I'm curious if this kind of brings back around some of those lapsed players, especially in that region. But, you know, those kind of multiplayer live service games on a Switch 2 are always a weird proposition because ultimately, if someone wants to play those on the go, there is a mobile version of them already. And if you're looking to play a version of the game that is like fully featured, you're just going to play the console or PC version. So it's like this weird in-between the convenience of a mobile phone and the actual power of a console or PC. And it just, like, no matter which use case you use it in, you're like, well, I should just load this up on my PC, or you're like, well, I could just be playing this on my phone. So unless Switch 2 is your only console, that version of that game doesn't make sense for a lot of gamers.
Yep, and that's just kind of how I've heard it put to me, is that game just didn't make a lot of money on Switch 1. Obviously, it ran like dog shit on Switch 1, so that's going to be a factor there. Maybe that suddenly solves it with Switch 2, but I don't know. I'm skeptical.
I like that game. Honestly, going back to that game recently,
I'm sure it's fine. Yeah,
it still feels really fucking good.
Yeah,
Those guns, the sound design is really fucking good. And every time you play them, you're like, man, what if we got a like traditional multiplayer shooter out of this studio? Imagine.
No, they couldn't do that. That's impossible. All right, let's see here. Next up is the Shadow Drop, maybe Game of the Year, Chillin' by the Fire. This is it looks like a hangout game where you can build a fire and you can like physically set the logs on top of one another. You get the kindling, you get the fuel, you get it all going there. And then you can also bring in your friends and they can use game chat to have their face hovering next to the fire. You can literally sit around the fire and talk with your friends. It looks very goofy and silly, and it's definitely my kind of thing. It looks like it supports up to 4 players, which is funny because you're not really playing anything. But I guess it's a little bit of a game of trying to keep the fire going because it will have weather effects and you'll have to try to keep the fire going, whether it starts to maybe rain a little bit or if you're in the snow. So that's interesting. I'm gonna get this. I can't wait.
This reminded me of a story that I heard from a guy who was developing VR games in the early days of VR, like just when Oculus was being Kickstarted and stuff. And he was like, at that point in time, VR was the easiest thing to sell to investors in the world, and it was basically a money faucet because you could give them a demo that was them in an empty room with a ball that bounces, and they'd be like, this is blowing my mind because there's just nothing quite like it. And this is kind of that thing of like, well, you could put this in front of an investor and there's cameras on the other people's faces, and it does kind of look like one of those demos that they would show them for like early VR of just like, you're gathered around a fireplace and you can see each other in this virtual realm. And all the investors go, virtual realm, some sort of synergy. So like, yeah, this is dumb in a way I can totally get behind.
Yep, I like it. Is there a way to like connect a like virtual camera to the Switch 2 yet? Has anyone figured that out? Because I would love to do like connect my PC as a virtual camera and be able to like put whatever I want into the little camera feed, but I don't know. All right, let's keep going here. The Adventures of Elliot, the Millennium Tales, a brand new action RPG from the creators of Octopath Traveler and Bravely Default. It's a HD 2D action RPG. So you're going to be doing real-time combat, running around, hitting people with swords. It's coming in 2026, and it's going to have an exclusive debut demo. I don't know if the game is going to be exclusive to Switch 2, although these games tend to come to Switch 2 first. But it will have a demo that is available later today, so people can try that out. I'm curious. What do you make of this?
The gameplay looked pretty interesting, but boy, that name reminds me of a Master System game that then got a sequel 2 decades later.
It's Square
like The
Enix,
Adventures of Elliot. It was everyone's favorite game on like old computers, and then they brought it back decades later, and they're like, "Oh, this is the Millennium Tales, The Adventures of Elliot."
Importantly, the game does take place in the mystical realm of Philadelphia. Is that how you say it? Philadelphia?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
What a hell of a thing.
What a thing.
That is so like the names of the players in the Japanese baseball game, trying to adapt the American names or whatever, and having like Ron Dungus or whatever the hell it was. It feels like that.
From the people who brought you various day life and dungeon encounters comes.
I mean, the best at naming, really. Yeah, Bobson Dugnut. There we go, chat. Yeah, flip, Philadelphia. It's going to be hard for, I think, any American to play this game and not just laugh at that name every single time. It's absurd. That's not a criticism. I love it. More of your insane bullshit. Square Enix, please. Never stop being yourself. Just Dance 2026 edition. Yep, that's...
I do have to say, it's so funny that got announced and not Final Fantasy IX Remake. It's so funny.
It would rule, because like the chances are we're going to get a lot more Just Dances before any Final Fantasy IX anything happens ever again. It seems like our poor friends out there. That's going to have APT by is it Rose and Bruno Mars? I guess I've never learned how to say her name. Houdini by Dua Lipa and Counting Stars by One Republic and Hang Up by Madonna. That's coming October 14th. Star Wars Outlaws looked pretty okay. Looked, for my expectations. There are some of these third-party games that look like, wow, that just looks right on Switch 2. And then this one, I think my expectation was always like, they're probably going to have to scale back a lot of stuff on here. And it looks scaled back. Fuzzy image, not a high frame rate, but it doesn't look unacceptable at the same time. It looks like a pretty okay way to play that.
It's not in the realm of The Witcher 3 on Switch 1 where you're like, well, this looks like dog shit, but it's also a miracle it's running.
Exactly.
It's kind of like, well, yeah, it's like, this doesn't look like the best way to play this game, but also, if I'm traveling and it's on the small screen and I'm on a plane, I doubt I'm going to care.
Yep.
This is the way I'm going to play that game.
Yeah, and I was just holding my my Steam Deck and my ROG Ally and my Switch 2 at once yesterday because I was moving things around. And it was like, oh, the Switch 2 is significantly slimmer, significantly like more comfortable to like just carry around as an object. And it's like, okay, there's clearly a reason that if the games are going to be pretty close on Switch 2, you'd still want to play them on there.
I found recently that out of all of the consoles that I own now, when I think about anything that I own hardware-wise, the one that I'm like, I look at and it fills me with the most joy is the Retroid Pocket.
Oh yeah, that
like,
thing's nice.
Especially with the grip, with the actual grip that they sell on their website that gives it a bit of weight, it just feels like a proper dedicated handheld in a way that like the Switch isn't. And like I like the Switch, but the flat back does make it kind of hard for long like handheld periods. So I might need to get like a Switch grip or something, because I have been finding that my hands are getting tired holding. I'm getting old, Grubb. I'm getting so old. My hands are getting tired.
Yeah, it happens. We have to do our hand exercises, everybody. Get your little straps out and do the thing where you try to stretch your fingers out with some resistance. It helps, or maybe it hurts your hands more. Who knows? Chronos: The New Dawn. It is from Bloober team that did the Silent Hill 2 remake. I think they're very happy now to be Bloober, the team that did Silent Hill 2 remake. That's gotta be nice to have that resume update for them over there.
Better than being Bloober, the team that did the Medium.
A little bit better than that. That's coming September 5th to Switch 2. It's going to be everywhere, right? We saw that in other places before, but confirmed for Switch 2 now, September 5th. Again, not too far away.
Chad is saying I'm washed. I'm not washed. Stop putting in the papers that I'm washed.
Plants vs. Zombies Replanted. The classic Plants vs. Zombies game is returning in HD. That's what I thought. This was like a remaster. This is out October 23rd. You can pre-order it today. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. That got some updates as well, I think. It's coming November 14th. You can pre-order it. I'm trying to see if there's anything here. I thought Sparking Zero was fun for what it was, but I knew what it was going to be, which was a thing I had fun with for a weekend and could put down. But I bet there are a lot of people on a Switch 2 who will be very happy to see this game. Once upon
now they're saying that I'm unwashed. This is terrible. This is the worst birthday ever.
That's way worse. Once Upon a Katamari, the King of All Cosmos, is returning. This looked fantastic. This is a whole new Katamari game, separate from the entirely new Katamari game that just came out on Apple Arcade a few months back. It is coming October 24th. Once again, pre-orders are available now. It looked good. Looked like they are nailing it. Octopath Traveler 0, one of the big games there. This is coming December 4th. So, wow, man, that is out this year. Let me double check that. Is Octopath Traveler 0 arrives for both Nintendo Switch 2 and Nintendo Switch on December 4th. Okay. Now, I'm going to read everything here. Let's see if we can suss out exactly what's going on with the Zero. Start from Zero in a personal quest of restoration and retribution in this prequel to the first Octopath Traveler. Journey to stop powerful villains using fast-paced, turn-based combat. For the first time in the series, play through the eyes of your own custom protagonist and rebuild your hometown. With over 30 recruitable party members, an engaging story, and all new features and returning core elements like the iconic HD 2D graphics and the break and boost battle system, players embark on a journey of their own creation when Octopath Traveler 0 arrives for both. Blah, 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 as we just said. This does feel like it is the mobile game being adapted. It's not maybe just like the mobile game now on Switch. First of all, it seems like they are making it an offline game, where the other one did have some online elements. I never touched the mobile game, so I don't know. But it seems like they're doing a little bit of work to make this feel a little bit more special, which is why it's not just that game on Switch. They gave it a new name, Zero. But I think also at the same time, Lexi, maybe people should dial down the expectations a little bit because it's a mobile port.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think I saw Alex Donaldson talk about this on Blue Sky, but like Square probably has a bunch of these that they can do because they also had that Nier game that they took offline.
That's right.
And people who played that Nier game were like, hey, if you like rework this a little bit, it could just be a traditional video game. So I bet we see that at some point as well. So I bet we see a few of these of reworking free-to-play games to work for a different market, because otherwise you have those assets, why not try to double dip on them?
Yeah, people are saying that they really like the original mobile game here. The Nier game was cool, and there's that Final Fantasy Tactics mobile game. So yeah, it sounds like there's a lot they can do here. Just as long as they don't release Final Fantasy 9, right? I mean, as long as that
anything, they will do anything to not release Final Fantasy 9.
And God
Square
bless them.
Enix, Square Enix will release Foam Stars 2 before they release Final Fantasy 9.
Hell yeah, let's go. All right, glad you're here. Yakuza Kiwami 2, and also they're going to bundle that together with Yakuza Kiwami. November 13th on Switch 2, and anyone who has the original Yakuza Kiwami will get a Nintendo Switch, can purchase the Nintendo Switch 2 upgrade at a discounted price. Okay, cool. Yeah, this looks pretty good. This is one of your favorite ones, right? And you're a big Like a Dragon fan?
Yeah, this isn't like my favorite. This is probably one of the community favorites.
Okay.
I have a couple of like quibbles with it, but like this is a really cool game to see ported because it is one of the first games that ran on the Dragon engine, which is the newer engine that they use that leads to all those cool physics things when you beat the shit out of people in their more recent beat 'em ups. So it basically means if they can get this running, they can get any of those games running. Because the Dragon engine was known as pretty taxing at times. So if this does run well, that being said, they might have moved it over to Unreal 5 because they're now working on in Unreal 5. But yeah, this is a really good experience, and I do like the idea of them doing these in order for the Nintendo audience.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, like even though Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, and those might be bigger sellers, I think that this is the right way to go about it to cultivate that new fan base, is to give it to them in order and not get them to have to go to different storefronts if they want to play them in order. And this is good because then Mike Minotti will be able to stream all of these back to back, non-stop for several years straight. It will be the only game he streams on his Twitch channel, and he'll be forced to do it.
Tell you what, I would like it. I would watch that. That sounds like a good time to me. Yeah, I mean, they've had such success building that fan base up on new platforms over and over again. So yeah, that they can do that again here. They know what they're doing. I think you're right that this will work. All right, let's see. Pac-Man World 2 Repack. That is September 26th. That was a PS2 game, I think, a PS2 platformer. I never really played many of the Pac-Man World games, at least not to my memory. But they look okay. They look like another platformer from that era, so probably just pretty okay. Final Fantasy Tactics: The Ivalice Chronicles, got a little bit more information on that. Coming September 30th, looked fantastic. Persona 3 Reload, that's now confirmed for Switch 2, October 23rd. That was something that felt like that was one of your predictions. That was like, that one feels like definitely that's going to happen. Here we are, coming out later this year.
It was that or Metaphor,
yes.
And Persona has the SMT fan base on Nintendo consoles, so they were probably going to go with Persona first.
Metaphor will be there like next year at the latest, it feels like. So
yeah, Metaphor definitely is one that would take a little bit more to get running, because it had, like, even on PS5 it could drop frames in places, but if they scale it back in the right ways, they could easily get it running.
Hella, a little mouse platformer exploration game, has full 4-player co-op, so 4 Hellas. Hella. That is coming 2026 to Switch 2. It looked really cool. Looked really neat. I was into what I saw. Kind of had a good, like, prairie style to it. And the mouse walks around on 2 legs and just looks like a human in a mouse costume, and I liked it.
When all the other animals walk on 4 legs, it's weird. It's upsetting.
The mouse is the king, and tells the other animals what to do. All right, let's see here. Anything else? There was a sizzle reel, Borderlands 4, Romancing Saga 2, Revenge of the Seven, Hello Kitty Island Adventure Wheat Flower Wonderland update. That's coming in the fall. That game is doing very well on Switch. Shinobi Art.
I love wheat.
Oh yes, smoke wheat every day. Shinobi Art of Vengeance is out August 29th. That game was really fun at Summer Game Fest. I continue to be very sitting in anticipation of that game, even as I'm playing Ninja Gaiden Ragebound and really enjoying that. And then NBA Bounce from Outright Games coming September 26th. Little arcade style basketball game. Yeah, it looked a little bit, I don't know. It looked a little broken. Looked a little cooked to me. I don't know. Not broken, but just spoiled. The characters' designs were out there.
Outright's technically owned by Bandai, I think.
Oh, really?
That's like
interesting.
Yeah. Because I've gone to Bandai appointments in Gamescom, and they're like, here's 20 minutes of Outright games. I'm like, oh, great. Cool.
Last thing here, Goodnight Universe, an emotional adventure that puts you in the role of a 6-month-old baby developing mysterious psychic powers. That's coming November 11th to Switch 2 and Switch. What was the studio behind this? You said the blinking game?
Yeah, Before Your Eyes.
Before Your Eyes. Which is that game where like you have a camera or VR and it tracks your eyes. And if you blink, when you open your eyes again, it's a different scene in that instance. And so it's like every time you blink, like it's like, oh, this passing moment, and I'm trying not to blink because I want to stay in this moment. But if you blink, it's over. I've never played it. I need to because it sounds astonishing. But I'll play this for sure as well.
They are games that like I've talked to people who are like parents and have played them, and they're like, yeah, these are like designed to make me cry.
Yeah, it's I definitely can already know what's going to happen. It's going to be it's going to put me in a mood where it's like, oh my god, I need to appreciate what I have right now. Yep, I'm in a happy place with where like my life is at. I don't need to blink and have it all go away, Lexi. That would be bad. So, yeah. All right, let's see here.
Grubb, your life is ending one podcast at a time.
Listen, I still feel like I got several thousand of those left, so that doesn't mean anything yet. I have several thousand podcasts left today, Lexi. So, all right, that's the recap. That was the Nintendo Direct. I give it a B-, C+. Like I that might sound harsh, I guess. I don't know. I don't think that's a rough thing to say. This is what a partner direct often can be. I guess I'm grading on a curve because it's a partner direct. I would give it a B, like a solid B, because there were several games in there that I'm interested in playing. And how else should I judge one of these? By like how hyped I was by something unannounced that blew my mind? I guess so. But these are commercials. Do I want to buy the games? Yes or no? Yes to several of them. That sounds pretty good to me.
And, like, in a lot of ways, this Direct isn't taking away from anything. Like, we know that there will most likely be a September Direct, because there's always a September Direct. So there are definitely things that they are, like, holding on to. And so it's kind of no surprise that these are things that didn't make the cut for that. But, like, you look at it, and they're all kind of stuff where you're like, no, yeah, I want this on the Switch. Like, I like the idea of Persona 3 on the Switch. If I was gonna play through 100 hours of an RPG, it would be on the Switch or something. And I was saying to you before the show, I think we get a bunch more of these during Gamescom of just like publishers quietly being like, oh yeah, this game that we released 3 years ago is coming to Switch, but we don't have a date yet. We're working on it.
Yep, exactly. So, I just turned it up back on, everybody. Just gonna go to break and I want it to loop. There we go. Let's turn. You just go. Why don't you turn it off now that I've stopped it from doing that? It should stop after this. Let's see. For audio listeners, the intro video started playing out of nowhere again. I know why it did that, but boy, very good at interneting here on the website. Okay, Lexi, what we should actually do is take a break so I can regain some mental health. We'll come back, plenty more headlines to get into, including I wanted to do a quick rundown of what the rest of the year looked like. We'll get into that after this. If you want to skip out on these ad breaks, you go to giantbomb.com/join. You can get the ad-free version of the show. That's the way to do it. We'll be right back. And we're back. It's Game Mess Mornings. Nothing has ever broken on this show once. I'm Jeff Grubb. That's Lex Luddy. And we're going to talk more about video games. The Game Informer 2025 calendar. I have no idea if they have updated this thing.
They do. They're good about it. They take pride in this calendar.
Yes. Have they updated it since the Direct, though? I was wondering about that.
Oh, since the Direct? I'm not sure.
Right. So if
not, I hope someone gets fired.
Yes, exactly. Someone should pay the price if it's not.
Alex Van Aken specifically. He just got hired. Get him out of there. It's his fault.
This is the problem with Game Informer. This is the problem. They already had Alex Van Aken. Now they have Eric Van Allen. Two different human beings, both with Van in the middle of their name. So too many Vans, first of all. Yep. No other website has one Van with that's not a middle name, or whatever it is, a family name precursor. I don't know what it fucking means. I already confused these guys. Now they work at the same place. What's your problem?
Yeah. Messed up.
Anyway, just become one person. Fusion dance and get it over with. Okay, so August coming up very soon. When I look at this, the things that stick out to me, I mean, I guess Mafia: The Old Country is in like a week. Have you heard any buzz about this?
Right, that is No, I know that they were reaching out to influencers recently, that they were doing their partnerships with them. So I bet we see a lot of that. This game is interesting because, like, I kind of think that it's going to be more up the alley of press than it is influencers because it's a linear action game. And when you tell a press member of the press, like, hey, it's only like 8 or 12 hours, they're like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, let's go.
When you tell an influencer, they're like, shit, 8 or 12 hours is one stream.
Yeah.
And they get really annoyed. So I'm kind of surprised that they have. I haven't seen codes going out for it, but I'm not tuned in with Take-Two too much when it comes to review codes and stuff. So they might be going out, but I'd like a good new Mafia game.
Yep, I would too. I really don't know what to make of it at this moment. It's I get the because those games were always open world to a degree. Was 3 open world? I guess I didn't really look into 3 at all.
3 was open world, and it's weird because that game is still totally broken on PS5.
Hell yeah!
Like its shaders are totally fucked up, and you will get stuck in loading screens, and a cutscene will play, and then the loading screen will start again, and the cutscene will play, and you just stay in that loop forever. And they haven't fixed it, even though they put that game up on sale frequently. As part of a bundle with Mafia 1 and 2. And it's like, best of the PS5, and it's a game that literally does not function on your PS5 right now.
Fantastic. Well, we'll see what happens with this one, which, again, as you said, much more linear. I seriously got the Order 1886 vibes from it, where it kind of looked like it's, over-the-shoulder shooter with lots of set pieces. And I don't hate that. I think that's interesting. Interesting take for the Mafia game specifically. Will it make any impact? I doubt it. But Mafia's never really felt like it made a huge impact. So if this is like, if it costs less to make and they were able to, and I certainly think that's probably the case if you just went into making this game, because this game they started making after they had another project that got canceled, and they spent a long time on that. And that was just a couple of years ago, like 3 or 4 years ago. And who knows how long this game was actually in development, but it feels like it wasn't like the full 6-7 years that we get for a lot of games. So if they were able to save money with an expedited release schedule, I think that makes sense. And now they can get this game out. And if it does okay, it'll probably be fine by them. All right, we should probably go a little bit faster. We're going to run out of time otherwise. Anything else stick out to you in August? There's Gears of War Reloaded. I guess
Gears of War and Helldivers come out the same day, which is just interesting. And then Kirby and Metal Gear Solid Delta come out the same day. Yep, Kirby, the Switch 2 patch. Yeah,
the DLC for that, Starland Delivers or something like that. And then, yes, Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater is August 28th. Shinobi Art of Vengeance is August 29th. We talked about that. Let's see. That Chronos game is September 5th. Borderlands 4 is September 12th. Going through here, Silent Hill F. Oh yeah, Baby Steps. Yeah, when is Baby Steps? What day is that?
September 8th.
Okay. And then Silent Hill F is September 25th. That's one that's like, oh yeah, that's coming out this year. I'm still shocked by that. You think that's gonna be as good as Silent Hill 2 was?
I don't know, but they seem confident in it if the amount of time that they offered for a appointment at Gamescom is correct.
Okay, that's
because Gamescom appointments are not usually that long.
Right. Okay, so maybe they got something up their sleeve there. October's really a very busy month. A lot of those games that we talked about in the direct coming in October. And then Ghost of Yotei is October 2nd. Borderlands 4 for Switch 2 is October 3rd. That Kingmakers game, the one you're driving around in a pickup truck with a machine gun and shooting up medieval soldiers, is October 8th. Let's see here.
Those Little Nightmares games sell like crazy, and Little Nightmares 3 is October 10th.
Pokemon Legends ZA is the 16th. Ninja Gaiden 4 is the 20th. Jurassic World Evolution 3 is October 21st. Once Upon a Katamari, they did just update this. October 24th. Outer Worlds 2 is October 29th. Arc Raiders is the 30th. Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D Remake is the 30th. Mina the Hollower, October 31st. And Terminator 2 No Fate, that awesome looking 16-bit throwback game, is October 31st as well.
Did you say the Outer Worlds 2?
I think so. Did I say the Outer Worlds? I think I said the Outer Worlds too.
Yeah, that's a nuts month.
It's crazy. It's really bananas. Yeah, Outer Worlds 2, October 29th.
And then like November has 4 games. It's wild.
Yeah, I mean that it'll fill in a little bit, but I think people are still expecting Call of Duty to come out in November, and they're like, oh, we'll just avoid that, and then everyone's going into October. Do you feel like, I don't know if any of these October games scream to me as like, oh, and they're going to need to move to Q1 2025 to find some breathing room. It's a busy month, but it doesn't feel busy in the way where it's like these games can't coexist necessarily. I don't know. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah, I think the only one that might blink is like a Ninja Gaiden 4 or something.
Sure.
That's the only one that because they're all of such varying sizes. They're not games that you would necessarily view as competing with each other. It is interesting that Ghost of Yotoi and Borderlands 4 are a day apart. Which like we don't think of as going for the same market, but kind of do in a weird way.
Wow.
Because Ghost
you're right.
Yeah, that first Ghost game was like very much a casual breakthrough game with a lot of people who aren't necessarily who mainly just buy, Call of Duty and FIFA. Quite a lot of them played Ghost of Tsushima, and Borderlands, like that thing sells like crazy to people who may not be like the biggest gamers.
Right, to your friend who asks you what other games should I be getting right now? I'm playing Borderlands 4, but what else should I be getting? That friend, yeah, always getting Borderlands. And then December, Octopath Traveler 0 and Toxic Crusaders. And it says here, Hollow Knight Spoon Heaven doesn't exist. That's a fake game. So we'll never get a release date. And that seems right to me. All right.
Money on the table, I bet that gets shadow dropped at Gamescom. And that's why it's on the show floor.
Yeah.
Which is really funny because you now have a bunch of press being like, oh, I have to get in to see Hollow Knight Silksong, and they're like trying to schedule their whole appointment schedule around playing that on the show floor first. And then it's just going to wind up being playable in public anyway, and everyone can get it. So, do
you think Hades 2 is kind of similar? Hades 2 1.0 could drop during that? Gamescom?
I think Hades 2 could shadow drop at the Game Awards a little bit later.
Okay, well, we'll see. All right, let's keep going. Battlefield 6 might cost $80 and $70. Well, $80 and $70, depending on your currency. This comes from Lex Luddy, and let's see what's under that tinfoil cap there. Oh, it's your brain. Trying to protect the brain waves. You spotted something here. What's going on? What makes you think this could be both 80 and 70?
I was looking at the eShop after the Direct, and I saw that Madden NFL in Europe is going to cost €80. And then I checked the US version of the shop because I have a US account for work stuff, and it's $70. And in most publishing cases, or in most cases, publishers release games kind of at a 1-to-1 rate. So a $70 game is a €70 game, an $80 game is an €80 game. And it seems like EA isn't doing that they are upping the cost of their games in the EU to $80. This is interesting because...
€80.
€80, yeah, €80. This is interesting because €80 equates to about $91,
yeah, it's about
which
90,
is...
Yeah.
Yeah, and $70 equates to about €62. So there is a big gap between those. And so basically it's just an addendum to that reporting that was going around where Bilbo Kuhn got out there saying that it was going to be €80. Then it got reported on that it was going to be $80 by a lot of people who just assumed it is going to be €80, I am guessing. Battlefield 6 is going to be €80, and Bilbo Kuhn was probably right, and they were looking at an EU, shipping manifest or whatever. But I think that what's happening here is that a lot of countries are going to start taking the brunt of the US tariff situation that aren't the US. And it's something you brought up a bunch of, like, the US is very price sensitive, and so companies will try to raise... Yeah, will raise the price in different regions to offset losing a bit of money in the US. And I think that's what's happening here, is the EA games will probably be $70 if you're in the US. They will probably be getting more expensive if you're outside the US.
It's also like, this, we'll get into a little bit of the weeds of how the economies are interacting right now, but all of the things that the U.S. government has done under Trump to try to like make it more competitive and get rid of the trade imbalances, whatever. That's a stupid thing to even try to do, and it's stupid because all of the unintended consequences are directly working against what he wants. Like because it'll be more difficult for these other countries to keep American dollars because they have like all the tariffs are causing some issues there. They're going to have to borrow American dollars when they want to make investment in America, which they still want to do. And so that will put more pressure on the dollar, increase its value, which inherently makes it cheaper for Americans to buy foreign goods and makes it more difficult for foreign goods to be sold in America. The exact thing that he's trying to solve, which of course he's not trying to solve it. Like that's absurd in the first place. But so the dollar is going to be worth more going forward, very likely because of all the things that are happening here. So I think these companies are intrinsically less interested in trying to get the US dollar price up immediately. And that goes hand in hand with Americans are whiny, price sensitive, and they don't want to deal with that. And they can raise it in Europe, and it's so disparate over there that they feel like they can get away with it. And it's proven to be true over and over again that they can treat the rest of the world like crap as long as they keep the United States happy. And I'm sorry, everybody, that's the way it is.
And Michael O'Leary in chat asks what happened with the Mario Kart announcement. What I think happened there was that game is €80 digital, and then it's €90 for a physical copy in Europe. And at some point that got lost in translation coming over between people trying to figure out the price. Because remember, they didn't announce the price for a bunch of Switch stuff and people were comparing it. And then at some point people were like, is this going to cost $90? And it wasn't.
Why would Discord be giving notifications? It always just automatically turns on. You know what, everybody? You're just going to see Discord for a second. Let's do this. Let's make sure streamer mode is on. Enable streamer mode. It's on right there. Is it coming through somewhere else? Oh boy. Okay. Well, that's going to drive me bonkers. Okay. Well, we're just going to keep going. If we'll hear it again, everybody, we will get a gun out and shoot this computer. Okay. I think you're probably right, though. I think you probably spotted it, that this is what's going to happen with Battlefield. So the rumor was it's going to be €80, and everyone just assumed that meant $80 as well. And then Andrew Wilson in an investor call is like, we're not doing $80 yet. We're holding back. And everyone's like, oh, that means they're not doing €80. And it's like, oh, it's like these are two different things, and they're going to treat them differently. All right. Xbox content and services revenue up 13% year on year from Vic Hood at gamesindustry.biz. Microsoft released
that explains why they had to lay off all those people.
Right. You just can't get by. Right. It's too tough. It's
money's tight. Money's tight.
It's up 13%, something like $5 billion more in revenue for this. I don't know. We'll go through the numbers here. So this is for Q4 of its fiscal 2025. Solid growth for gaming revenue and Xbox content and services. Hardware is down, but they are making more money. For the 3 months ended June 30th, 2025, revenue was $76.4 billion, up 18% year over year. Net income was $27.2 billion, up 24% year over year. More personal including, which is the side that includes Xbox, was $13.5 billion. I do believe Xbox makes up the bulk of more personal computing, but I think it also includes stuff like Surface laptops and things like that. And that's up 9% year on year. Here's the highlights as listed by Vic Hood over at Games Industry. It was a strong close to what Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella called during the earnings call a record fiscal year for the company. This is largely due to Microsoft's cloud services. We closed out the fiscal year with a strong quarter highlighted by Microsoft cloud revenue, reaching $46.7 billion, up 27%. These numbers are insane. They're like making, it's up double-digit percentage points, and they still laid off all those people. And it's like, because they think AI is going to make them even more money, and it's just going to blow up in their face. Actually, I can't wait for it to blow up in their goddamn faces.
Genuinely, the thing I've talked about on Blue Sky about like living in an unreality where it feels like even for investors at a certain point, when you look at business for long enough, and you've probably done this too, you see them realize that the good money has turned into bad money, and they stop putting good money after bad, and they stop investing in it. It happened with NFTs. It happened with Metaverse, where it became clear that this thing wasn't going to take hold. You look at like the market's view of AI, even in this like case example of Jurassic World Evolution getting like the shit kicked out of it by its community and having to say they're taking out any traces of AI from that. You look at the fact that like AI makes its way into Pokemon cards and they have to do a massive investigation into all of their Pokemon cards. You look at the consumer sentiment around AI and the company sentiment around AI, which is it's a fucking liability. And I just don't understand how investors and company heads haven't realized at this point that it is good money after bad.
The things they're working on is like, hey, let's get more people working on AI so we could save money. It's like, okay, I feel like you guys are jumping the gun here a little bit. You need to prove AI to people first. You haven't done that, and frankly, it doesn't seem like that is a concern at all. You're not working on. I think they're just assuming it's going to work, and it does. There's a poisonous sort of sentiment around AI that extends further than I expected. Yeah, a lot of your friends are using AI and having conversations with it and breaking their brains, or using it in a bunch of mundane ways for sure. But I don't think. Ask those friends that are the most into AI. Are you going to pay $100 a month for your AI assistant here? And I bet like 9 out of 10 say no to that. And
like, Grubb, you probably think about the movie The Big Short as much as I do.
Oh yeah, I'm a dad. Yeah, are you kidding me?
See, I'm spending too much time around you. It's aging me.
I'll give you a list of my favorite dad movies when we're done here. Don't worry.
Okay, great. I would take you up on that. That and Blackberry.
Yep.
But the idea of that, of like the banks getting too big to fail, that's starting to feel how AI has gotten, where it's very clearly forming a bubble, and everyone looking in on it can see that this is a bubble being formed. And they just don't care because they think they'll get their money out of the bubble before it pops.
Yep.
And you can see that happening because, like, there is no other technology that is as unuseful as AI that is still getting this much money poured into it this far into its life cycle. And, like, that bubble will pop. You talk to anyone who uses it, whether it be because it's so expensive to use, whether it be because like the returns aren't good enough, whether it be because the like end product isn't good enough. The AI just isn't going to become a viable product in the future, and it is like a fad, but these massive companies aren't allowing it to appear as a fad, so they just continue to invest in it, and we've been doing it for almost a decade now. We've been investing in AI since 2017, and it still isn't profitable.
And I mean, all of the, the one-to-one equivalents to The Big Short is a lot of that stuff is there, where it's like the people that would have oversight on this stuff, the media, the press, have been so bought and paid for, or have been so beaten down by these billionaires that they are afraid to be skeptical, or they're afraid of being left out of AI. And you could just, and the bros they're talking about, selling mortgages or getting mortgages signed on Friday and selling it by noon lunch on Monday. And those guys just being like bragging about how all the stuff that they're doing. Those guys exist in AI constantly. And
it's worth remembering, it's probably like a bunch of the same people.
Yes.
It's a bunch of the same people who were trading those same stocks, who were running the stock market at that time, who we all know got off scot-free for tanking the global economy. And this is their new way of trying to make that quick money again. And it's going to tank like these companies and the global economy at some point. And like, I don't care about the companies. I don't like necessarily care about global markets. I care about the people that are affected. Yeah, I care about the people who, in the case of The Big Short, had their houses repossessed. In this case, it's lose their employment because their company goes under. And it sucks.
And to like put a fine point on it, none of the AI bullshit is why Microsoft's content is making more money now than it was before. It was because people made a bunch of cool video games, and they sold, and they put those video games in new places. And the people
did you see the numbers that got out there for Facebook's AI initiative that they had in their earnings report?
I think I saw some of this. Yeah,
we made like 30 million. We lost 3 billion.
Yep.
Oops.
Yep. And no one is really asking for AI movies. And if they are, they're asking, I want the ability just to make stuff on my own in my house, because I just want to say stuff. And you're not going to be able to sell any of those things to anyone. And all of the legal problems have not been solved yet. It's just one big landmine, and they're putting all their money inside of the landmine. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see here. Meanwhile, though, yes, the Xbox games are saving the PS5 from its midlife crisis. That is a headline from Ethan Gotch at Kotaku. There was a list from Matt Piscatella of the best-selling PlayStation 5 games of the second quarter, and it was a majority Microsoft games. It was like something like 6 of the 10 were Microsoft games.
It's weird to look at because there's more Microsoft games on the PlayStation list than there is on the Xbox list.
Yes, exactly.
Because on the Xbox, people just play those through Game Pass. So the majority of like the Xbox list is Take-Two games and EA games. It's weird.
Yeah, that's stuff like, Doom the Dark Ages, Oblivion Remastered, Forza 5, let's see, did I say Indiana Jones and the Great Circle? Let's see. Yeah, and then of course you have Call of Duty and Minecraft. So between those 6, it's just, people point out, well, Microsoft bought all those stuff. Yeah, of course, definitely. Yeah, well, I don't really know what that means. I also, this just means more money is going to Microsoft as they succeed on PlayStation. And I don't think anyone here is salty about this. No, I'm sure the fans are salty, whatever, but they're salty about everything because they're miserable people. Between Microsoft and Sony, I don't think there's anyone's going like, darn it, we're making more money. Yeah. This stinks. They're all happy over there. They understand what's going on.
Yeah, I think as like a member of the press, this really highlights an interesting thing that I've been thinking about a lot, which is like when there is an active boycott against a company like Microsoft, it's very easy to say, okay, we need to boycott them. But when Microsoft takes up a percentage of the industry that is so great, where Microsoft blows, the industry blows in a lot of ways.
Yes.
I think it's still important that press cover them in a critical manner.
Yep.
And that's not me saying that you like break the boycott. I don't think you should do previews of Xbox games right now because that, let's be real, previews are free advertising. That's all they are. But it is still important to cover these companies in a critical manner, especially in a business manner when so much depends on the whims of a couple of people at the top there. And so much of the role of press now has to be holding them to account for their choices that they make because no one else is doing that. Like the government isn't doing that anymore. So I think it's a really delicate situation that the press have been put in with the BDS boycott, which is something that I support, but also I think we need to talk about what Microsoft does, right? Because otherwise we're ignorant to the actual scale of what's going on in the industry.
Yep, it's unfortunately literally too large to ignore on a show like this for the news side of things. But you're right. Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. It's going to be one of those things where it's always, what, every time it's Free Palestine, a bunch of I think Microsoft's involvement and continued target by the BDS movement is completely fair, and it should be brought up every time. As far as their success, I guess the other side of it is really I'm wondering what does this mean for Sony? Where is Sony at with releasing video games? It doesn't seem like they're hurting by putting out 2-3 games a year, and some of those are from partners like Kojima. So I guess, is this even a problem at all? Obviously, I just said it's not a problem because they're making more money, but people do want Sony to put out more games. Are they putting out enough?
It's weird. It's like they keep on getting underhand tosses thrown to them, and they just haven't taken a hit on any of them yet. They're just no, we're still working on stuff. We cancelled everything. We'll be back in a few years' time with some actual stuff. And I think that's the thing that we won't hear about for a lot, or will be hearing about over the years, is just how many games got caught up in their live service push, and not even how many games, but the percentage of their release schedule that was going to be live service. Because I think that's the real problem. It wasn't that they wanted to do 12 live service games, it's that they wanted to do 12 live service games and they were maybe releasing 16 games in the next couple of years. And when one of those went wrong, now you have a huge majority of their slate that has a noose around its neck already, and this bad omen around it because of one bad release.
There was one other number here from Microsoft worth bringing up. Game Pass, $5 billion in revenue for the first time, said Nadella. I think it's probably fair to say that that is a business model that is okay and is making enough money. And at the same time, it's worth pointing out that it has also been this albatross in a lot of ways for the fate of Microsoft and where it's going. And they do still have to kind of fund it in some ways. Like a lot of the focus internally has to go towards Game Pass. But $5 billion in revenue, I don't think they're spending $5 billion a year on making games for Game Pass at the same time. Maybe they are, but it's probably not close to that.
It's weird because like Game Pass was always positioned, and the press always talked about Game Pass as like, oh, this is Microsoft's big bet. And yes, it was, but the only options that people ever really thought about was like, it's either going to hit it out of the park and it will become Netflix, or it's going to totally fail. And it's not done either. It's just kind of hung out around not even the middle, but a kind of midway point and now it's had these weird knock-on effects because of that people hadn't really expected. So it's a very nebulous thing of like, what does Game Pass actually mean for Microsoft and the industry?
Yep. And I'm sure a big reason it got to this $5 billion revenue number is Call of Duty. And, some of that money comes from somewhere. It's not always an even exchange. It's not always a zero-sum game where it's like we're making $1 billion here that we would have made $1 billion from selling Call of Duty, or maybe a lot more because Call of Duty costs more. But I still think that, you could probably look at those numbers and it's not exactly like, oh, this is just for a free $5 billion. You have to kind of do the math there a little bit. All right, let's finish up here. Capcom's share price drops sharply in Japan following soft Monster Hunter Wilds sales last quarter. Let's see. This is from Chris Scullion at VGC. Capcom's share price in Japan dropped sharply because of Monster Hunter Wilds. The company's share price was sitting at 4,283 yen at the end of Wednesday, but when the market opened today, the price dropped nearly 10%, 9.5%, hitting a low point of 3,874 yen. Capcom published its financial results for the quarterly period ending June 30th, and while it reported net sales were up 53.7% year on year, and that operating profit was up 90.8% year on year, it also noted that Minecraft Monster Hunter Rise's sales appear to have hit a brick wall. That's incorrect. I think he means Wilds here. Wilds hit a brick wall because Rise actually sold better than Wilds in the last quarter. People are like pretty worried about Wilds, and they should be. The sentiment around that game's been pretty rotten for quite some time, and it seems like that's showing up in the ongoing sales. The game did very great out of the gate, but now it has fizzled and fallen off a cliff, and investors are looking at that being like, we were counting on this game being a perennial hit for a while, and it's not doing that.
It is worth noting that Rise is on Switch and therefore Switch 2 and has been on deep discount.
Yes.
Like I think the bundle with Sunbreak has been like $30 most of this year. So like I'm not surprised that game is doing better. But I do think it is notable that Wilds isn't doing better.
Yeah. Real quick, I misspoke. Rise only sold slightly less actually, but it was very close. It was 477,000 copies for Wilds, and then 390,000 copies for Monster Hunter Rise. So, okay, 80,000 less, but it's still like really close. Like they're neck and neck in a lot of ways. But you're right; those are copies sold. So Wilds making a lot more revenue, making a lot more money because these are all going to be a lot of them are going to be deep discounted sales of Rise on Switch and especially on Steam. But the underlying point here is investors and fans are worried about Monster Hunter Wilds. This is like maybe one of the first blemishes on Capcom in quite some time of this game just feels off. It feels like they missed with this one in a lot of ways, even though reviews were it reviewed well at the time. But I think a lot of people are like, yes, this is a fun game. It's just missing a lot of what makes Monster Hunter very special. And now those problems have become exacerbated over time. They're going to have to probably spend time fixing this up, right?
Yeah, I think that was the big thing with Wilds when you looked at it. Like, compared to almost every other Capcom game that has come out for the last, 7 or so years, it did feel unpolished. Yeah. It did feel like Dragon's Dogma 2 obviously had its problems, but that's such a niche game in a lot of ways that people are like, whatever, the Dragon's Dogma sickos loved it no matter what. But you compare it to the polish that we were seeing on those Resident Evil games, on stuff like Rise and a lot of their other output. And it did kind of feel like, oh, you've invested in a new technology and it's not quite working yet. And I think like maybe they've had to learn that lesson the hard way. Like they've gone out there and said that Resident Evil Requiem isn't like fully open world, and I think that's them acknowledging like maybe the Ori engine can't do everything. Maybe it's just not built for this. And they kind of, you know, they had to experiment with those things. You know, they had the technology, they had to like do something with it. So I'm not surprised that they tried to push the limits, but it just seems like it has backfired on them in this case. And I'm sure they'll like correct from it and people will be really fucking excited for the next one.
Yeah, that's probably exactly what will happen here. I mean, the reality is all of these engines right now are struggling with the scale of open world games. Unreal Engine 5 is supposed to be the open world engine. No, it stinks at this too. A lot of games have troubling performance with Unreal Engine 5. And it's just the people are trying to do too much. They're making games that are more than what Fortnite is, and it's like anything above that starts to become an issue for that.
I like
engine
the idea that there's
else.
someone at Bethesda's office just being like, ha ha ha, not so easy now, is it, fuckers?
A little bit, yep. All right, that does it for the headlines. Let's get to the poll question. I think I have it right here, ready to go. Let's read it up. All right. From yesterday, let's see what everyone said to this one. Do we get Metroid Prime 4's release date at tomorrow's Partner Direct? I would have also said no, you dip. And that's 79% said no, you dip, and 21% said yes, I have endless cope. Yeah, look, I get it, everybody, but we did not get it. So you 21% will have to keep waiting. Although, you know, that one I do feel like happens in September now. I feel like we don't get that until September.
If it doesn't get shown at Gamescom behind closed doors, I bet this is a Nintendo Today app reveal.
Right.
Like, I bet that, like, this is just something they put on the app and they're like, it's out then.
Yep, exactly.
It's also out on October 24th, like every other video game this year.
Yeah, why not? Who cares? Put it on the same day as one of your other games, Nintendo. All right, that was the poll question from yesterday. We have a new poll question we'll get to here in a second. Before we do that, Lex Luddy, why don't you tell people where they can find you on the internet, what you have going on, and all of that good stuff?
Yes, so this Saturday you can find me on twitch.tv/Rewinder Media. Me and Rewinder's other website owners, we will be running Rewinder Presents Mario Party Jamboree Nintendo Switch 2 Edition, plus Jamboree TV, and also Lexi Party starring Lex Scott and Henry's Patreon Subathon. We're going to be running that for however fucking long it takes to do 30 turns in that game. Grubb, I spent like 10 minutes setting this up with Henry the other night, before, like the night before my birthday, and like just making sure that all the online stuff worked and that we could get into a game together. Right? And after one turn of like playing a mini game, I was like, I'm angry. I'm not happy. Like, I'm not in a good mood anymore. I was in a good mood before then, and I was like, this sucks. So those two fuckers love those games. So I'm sure it's going to be great content. Yeah, this is going to be good content. And we have our cameras set up as well. So we'll be doing the cameras. And yeah, we're trying to up our Patreon support for Rewinder. We're trying to make it sustainable so that we can keep on going with it. And we decided that the best way to do that is to make me suffer.
It works.
It's worked. It's worked in the past.
Yes.
I raised a lot of money by playing Sonic 06 for trans healthcare. So, like, by the transitive property, this should also work. You
should have a noob's hole. Noob's hole is the key. That's what always makes it happen. People give a lot of money to kids to put me in the noob's hole.
I'll just get Casper Van Dien to call over to my house. It's fine.
There you go. That's perfect. All right. New poll question is grade the Nintendo Direct. A, B, C, or D. Those are your options. They don't let us do more than 4 options on YouTube anymore, so those are it. A, B, C, or D. We'll get the results of the poll. We'll talk about it here on Game Mess Mornings on Giant Bomb tomorrow to close out the week. Speaking of Giant Bomb, on that Game Mess Mornings, we'll also have the Bomb 12, which if you check out my Blue Sky, I posted a link where you could tell me, what is your game right now? Getting lots of replies once again. If you want to get one of your favorite games on the Bomb 12, you're going to have to respond, and we'll see what the results of that will be. Of course, this is our list of the games that matter in this moment to people. We started that last week. We will continue it this week. Other than that, today, voicemail dump truck. We have Vinny and Alex on the show with me and Bacalar. It's going to be a good one. Really looking forward to that.
What nice guys. What nice guys.
Yeah. Coming through.
I did a podcast with them for the first time. Lovely guys.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They're fantastic. And, they'll work when others won't. When others around here just, go do whatever off and SF.
I had to go to San Francisco.
Yeah. Got to go get the San Francisco treat on Mike Minotti. I will get that going. What else? I'm probably going to do Skies of Arcadia today, but like I said, a lot's going on, so we'll see if we can make that happen.
Well, I'm going to say it right here. You shouldn't.
I know I shouldn't. I know I shouldn't, but if I don't know what else I'm going to do it. Yeah. But so we'll see. And then tomorrow we'll have UPF. We're going to try a couple things on there. I might start it by doing the campfire game. Chilling by the fire. Might force everyone to play that with me. We'll see. That's out today. All right. That does it for what's coming up. Let's see here. Lex Luddy, thank you so much for hanging out with me today to talk about video games. I really appreciate it.
Always a pleasure. Always fun.
Thank you all for watching and listening wherever you're doing so. I really appreciate it. You are the best audience in gaming. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself and goodbye.